Hello. Okay, so today what we're going to be going into is a little bit more into transitions, exploring what Adobe has in transitions, trying to stack things to. Let me get back in the camera shot. Hello. Getting things stacked together in a way where you can transition between multiple clips at once, and potentially also taking a look at how to make that better. Because there are ways to make transitioning between clips better. We're going to look more into graphics, how to make something that really stands out. We're going to take a look at nested sequences, what they are and how they can help you. And also a little side trick I use when trying to fade to black. Okay, so with all that done, let's get to it. Okay, so for this practice, go ahead, start up a new project. Make sure to make a new sequence, Control N and AVCHD 1080i 3060i. And go ahead and grab some high resolution images from Google or your phone or something like that. Just get those images into Premiere. So I have 3 different shots of Port Orchard, downtown, the Play Center downtown, and here's a flyover. Now, exploring transitions, let's go ahead and take a look more into what Premiere offers for transitions. Let me go ahead and adjust my range of interest. So right here we have our transitions, or video transitions. Now there's some under presets, but we're not going to get into those today. So I would avoid using anything under presets for this project, for this. So let's take a look. Now the only one that is not here by default is Impact. So ignore this folder for now, we're not going to go over it. But we have several other transitions. Zoom, so we have what's called a cross zoom. We have several different types of wipes. Each one has its own unique feature and can do an assortment of things. We have slides, page peel, iris, immersive, which can do some cool effects, but takes some time to learn. Dissolves, and there is this one called Morph Cut, which takes a while to do things. And finally, 3D motion. So each transition by default is a second long. So if I take the default transition, which is cross dissolve, I'm going to go zoom out so we can see it down here. If I click and drag that down between my 2 clips, it's going to be exactly a second. So let me go ahead and zoom that in. Now we went over this last time a little bit about transitions and their lengths. So as you can see here, that's a second long. So this is going by hours, minutes, seconds, frames. So 30 frames is actually a second. 15 frames for what we do is half a second. Then let's say I put in 120 frames. That's going to be, it's going to come in at a minute 20. Actually, that shouldn't come in at a minute 20. That should, 120 frames is 4 seconds. So that would actually be 400. And depending on how long you make your transition, your clip will transition accordingly. Your clips will transition accordingly. So let's go ahead and make this 4 seconds. So this is going to be a very slow, as we can see over here, a very slow dissolve. Now, let's say we wanted to just reuse a different transition. Well, we can just go ahead and click and drag down a transition, and if we overlay it on top of the one we currently have down there, it will have the same amount of time. It will go for the same amount of time. So here's an iris box, and we do that, and you see it takes the same 4 seconds to go out. Now, something you might have noticed already is we have this red line on top of my timeline. We had these yellow lines. I never addressed it last time. But the red line means you have to render, or at least Adobe wants you to render. The yellow is saying that, okay, I can do this. It should look perfect. Red is saying, I might be able to do this, but I need some help. So how do you render? Well, you can hit the Enter key, or go to Edit, actually it's Sequence, and hit render in and out, FX in and out, or you can go to render in and out and that will render your entire timeline. For most stuff you need to do, render in and out, effect is all you need. So all you need to do is hit enter, it will think, and then you can play it back. Now for certain transitions this is not needed, but for some of the more intense ones it might be. So we keep on going here, so we're going to do a cross zoom. So now it's going to zoom in at a point and then zoom out of the point. So it zooms in, zooms out. So pretty easy there. Now most transitions have a layer of, hey, we can do something more with them. If I click on cross zoom, and I go to the effects control tab in my center panel area, I start getting some cool tools. So let's zoom in. Oops. Let's start zooming in. So right here it shows that I can do a couple things. I'm going to say show actual sources, and I can determine where it's going to zoom in to. So I could say I want to try to match up the colors. So it's going to zoom in from onto that brick here in this shot to the tree leaves over here in this shot. And if I go ahead and play that back now, it does. A lot of transitions have settings like this. So let's go find another. Let's go ahead and use Cube Spin under the 3D. So I'm just going to click and drag that down onto my old transition. It will replace it. I click on that transition. I'll start getting some stuff I can mess around in. So I have, as it stands right now, the default for a Cube Spin looks like this. I can go ahead and reverse it if I wanted to. And now that transition is going to look like this. Not much difference, but it is. Now you saw that it lagged there. So this is a perfect time to render. So I'm going to hit the enter key. We'll get the render symbol. There we go, it's rendering. And now we're going to go back over here and watch it. And as you can see, it doesn't lag as much. It plays back fairly smoothly. Now there's some jaggedness, but that's the nature of interlaced video that I'm working in. Okay, now let's say you have two things you're transitioning from. Not just an image, but let's say you had some text to go along with it. Let's go make some text. So again, I'm using Legacy Titler. So to use that, I've already set my preset in keyboard shortcuts. In here, I've typed in the word title. And I've set Legacy Title to F7. I will keep on saying this. Hit my F7 key, click OK. And I think what I want to do here is, right here is type at a crossroads. Okay. Just something. And I'm definitely going to make my text better. So for the moment, I'm just going to use one of the presets that has a decent drop shadow. Let's go with this right here. And I'm going to go ahead and quickly add on a stroke. That's an outline. Center that up. I'm going to make that bold. Center, center. That looks good. That should now be in my bin over here. I'm going to drag that down and put it on top. Because it's a graphic and everything on it is transparent, it could be on the top of my image and I can see it. I'm going to go ahead and set its out point now to match up. I'm going to now go make another graphic. F7, okay. This one I'm going to go ahead and title, let's see, out at the park. I'm going to use a different preset this time, something with a little bit more color. And I definitely want to add an outline to that. So again, I'm going to add an outer stroke. Oh, it does have one. I just don't think it works fairly well. So I'm going to switch that to a solid, make that black. And I'm going to go ahead and increase the size a little bit, center my text. Go ahead and drag that down, make it the size of that clip as well. So without adjusting anything, I'm going to have my two pieces of text over each one of my clips, and I'll get something that looks like, and I'm going to go ahead and hit render right now because, like I said earlier, I have that red in my timeline, so I should hit enter and render. It's rendering. And now just to watch these two back at a crossroads, out at the park. Now, the text didn't do anything. The reason it didn't do anything, it also needs a transition. So going back, I'm going to go grab my cube spin again. So we got my cube spin. We'll go apply it down here. Now it's not the same length, so I definitely need to double click on it and make it that 4:00 seconds. And I didn't reverse it, but that's okay. I think this is going to get a little bit new feel, so let's take a look and see if it works. So I'm now transitioning between both clips. So if I go over here and take a look, let's go ahead and go over here and reverse. So what I'm doing is I'm matching the transition on top as the same for the text as the same one on bottom for my images. Let's render that. Okay, and then come over here and we'll watch it again. And by doing that, it looks like the text is a part of the clip and it looks fairly good. And this is how you would transition with multiple clips on top of each other. Why would that matter? Well, let's say you have multiple things of text or different objects due to maybe some clip art from the internet or again the text or maybe some cropped video. This is how you would have to stack them. Now I'm going to go ahead and add something more to this graphic, and this is where we're going to take a heavier look at Legacy Titler. I'm going to go ahead and make a new graphic. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm actually going to draw an image. So I'm going to grab this circle right here. I'm going to hold the Shift key so it's a perfect circle, and apply one of the presets. There we go. Not bad. I'm going to go turn down that shadow a little bit. So where is that size? Well, that's the stroke. So let me just add that down a little bit. Okay. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and make a triangle. Yeah, let's use that. Okay, I'm now going to Control-C to copy and paste that a couple times. Oops, Z. Grab one. Hold the Shift to lock it. There's one. Okay. And if you haven't already guessed, what I'm doing is I'm creating a sun. Not a very good one, but a simple one. So I'm just going to keep on going until I have all my little cardinal directions. There we go. Delete any extras I have. Okay. Now I'm going to take all of this, and as together, I'm going to go ahead and move it into the center. Why am I doing that? Well, it's going to be a little bit easier now to move around, because if I have it in the center here, let me go ahead and reconfigure my area of interest. There we go. I can go over here, grab my sun, put it in my timeline. Yoink. And now over here, I can go ahead and say, you know what? I want to move you. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on it. And I start getting and I get this little white blue box around that layer. Now, this is only going to happen on the topmost layer. And right now, my sun is the topmost layer. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to go ahead and size it and move it over here in the area I'm going to call the sky. I'm going to actually go back to my graphic and I'm going to click on my little circle and I'm going to arrange, bring to the front. So my little crop outs, come on, arrange, bring to the front. There we go. So I have this cool little star effect right there, or sun effect. So this is my sun, and now I want to make it transition between the two areas as well. Well, I have nothing over here to transition with, because I'm not going to have a layer like that. So what I could do is extend my clip, and I'll come down here and show you. So instead of having it right here, I could extend it. Go ahead and grab another cube spin, and not only reverse it, but make it again 4 seconds. So now, if I did this just right and after rendering, the sun is going to look like it comes around with everything else. So let's take a look. Not bad. Let's take a closer look. Again, not bad, but I think I could do more. So what I can do is I'm going to go ahead and delete all these transitions and make all these clips the same. And I'm going to make what's called a nested sequence. So I'm going to select everything here, right click, and go to nest. And then I can name it. So I'm going to just leave it nest for now. And now all of that has become one clip. Kind of cool. With it being one clip, I could theoretically grab a transition, and now the transition will go through all of those with only using one transition. But oh no, it starts a little too late, and I lose that text. What can I do? Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dive into this sequence. So right here at the very beginning, that is right here in my nested sequence. How do I know that? That little triangle here means the beginning of the sequence of that nested clip. Going back to how clips work, if you have a triangle on a clip, that is the beginning or the end of that clip. So if I want to have it go more this way, I'll need to start the clip later and also have more footage. So let's go into my nest, and I'm just going to quickly make this, how about 14 seconds? There we go. And I can then come in here, and if I go ahead and click and hold that into my source monitor, it's now treated as a clip. And what I can do is I can grab this white area right here, grab and change it, so now the in and out points are different. Now I'm going to use 3 seconds for the rest of this for these transitions. But as you can see immediately, well, if I go get my cube spin, there we go, and make that 3. Well, I still need to transition my other graphic right here. That's okay. Again, I can just bring it over, slap on the cube spin, make it 3 as well. I can now hit enter to render. And then when I watch it back, there we go. It still plays rather smoothly. So that's how you can use a nested sequence to potentially take a more complex looking graphic and have it work together. You just have to make sure you have enough pad. So again, pad is the area in a clip you do not use. So I'm not using this area, I'm not using this area. That is the available pad that I can use a transition in. So for the rest of this, I'm going to go ahead and make another graphic for this one. Let's go ahead and make one more graphic. Click OK. And for this graphic, like a bird want to fly away. Let's go do my centers. I'm going to go ahead and find myself some blue text because I think that works. But I'm going to go ahead and move that up. So let's put it up here. Center that around. Again, I always like adding an outline that can help it stand out. Okay. Let's take a better look at that text. And just for the sake of argument, I'm going to go to my text properties, make that small caps. Okay, I think that's legible. Move that up a little bit more in the safe, make the text a little bit bigger, and close, add that over here. Let's go ahead and do another transition. So I'm going to go to Effects, I'm going to go to Iris. Let's use Iris Box. I'm going to keep this one as a second. Match up my transitions by using the snapping tool. Render that all. And let's go take a look on how that looks there. So I'm going to hit play. Yeah, it comes in as one piece. That's kind of good. That's kind of what I'm looking for. But now I want to fade to black. Now, the first thing I see a lot of people do is they'll come over here to dissolves and use dip to black, and they think that will solve everything. So we're going to see over here that I'm going to just arrow through dip to black here, and my text is going to go out, but my image stays. Well, that means I got add another dip to black. But there's very little control here in dip to black in my mind, as you lose half your time. So at the halfway point, it goes to full black. I don't like that. Now, I could nest this all and dip to black as well, but again, I don't have that timing, so there's a little trick I like to do when fading to black. I'm going to go over to File, New, Black Video. Click OK, go to my bin, grab my black video, and I'm going to add a cross dissolve to the beginning of my black video. I'm going to go ahead and move that over. Let's zoom in to really take a look here. I'm going to go move this over just a little bit so my transition ends just as this clips end. Now I find to do this gives you a much cleaner dissolve to black. So let's take a look. That feels a lot better, at least to me. And now I actually have control as well, because now I can go into my timeline. If I can show you. I can go into my timeline and even say after where that transition is done, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can razor here, delete the unnecessary black, and now I've left enough pad so when I fade out the end, it doesn't just cut out like I see on a lot of online video. And then at the beginning, well, I'm just going to use my track selection tool, bring everything over, grab myself some black video, I'm going to go ahead and make that to just over a second by a frame. Use my snapping tool and then add a cross dissolve to it. Now I can move my clips over, match up, and now it fades up fairly cleanly. And so let's take a look at that. Yeah, it fades up pretty cleanly. And it transitions as well between everything I have fairly smoothly. That sun looks like it's part of the clip. It just keeps on going. Now it's going to do the iris box. I have my text, I can read it, it's legible, and then it will fade out. And that's kind of what this skill set here is to explore more with your graphics, to really see what you can do with them, and also with clips, try to do like a very simple slideshow. That's what you're making here, is a very simple slideshow. So that is it for this demonstration. Tomorrow, I think we're going to be stepping away from Adobe and looking more into storyboarding and script writing. And with that being all, let's go ahead and fade that over. If you have any questions, I'll take them now. Okay, doesn't look like there are any. That's okay, that's fine. And we will call to the end of this project. I will see you tomorrow. Again, these streams are hopefully going to happen at 11:30 Monday through Friday. And that is it. So let me just change the transition here. I'll see you next time.